Before the ball ever moves, Aaron Rodgers is already attacking, turning one shouted word into pressure, doubt, and free yards. Quarterbacks shout because football is not only strength and speed. It is timing, disguise, communication, and controlled deception. To fans, cadence sounds like noise. To quarterbacks, it is a weapon built from rhythm, memory, and defensive fear. Rodgers did not master the hard count by accident. He built it through repetition, patience, and brutal attention to defensive habits. Long before defenders jumped at his voice, Rodgers learned another lesson. Waiting can sharpen a quarterback's edge. At California, Rodgers showed accuracy and discipline, traits that later made every pause at the line feel dangerous. Green Bay selected Rodgers 24th overall in 2005, not as an immediate savior, but as a difficult future decision. Behind Brett Favre, Rodgers spent 3 seasons watching how command sounds before it ever looks like leadership. Cadence begins in language, but it only works when every teammate hears the same hidden instruction. When Rodgers became the starter in 2008, Green Bay needed more than throws. It needed a new voice. A quarterback's voice must sound believable. If defenders sense panic, the hard count loses its teeth. The best hard count is not the loudest one. It is the one that feels exactly like the real snap. That thin space between the ball and defense became Rodgers' hunting ground, where impatience turned into penalties. When the flag hit the turf, Rodgers did not relax. He attacked, because a free play is stolen oxygen. Most quarterbacks accept 5 yards. Rodgers often searched for more, turning defensive mistakes into explosive punishment. Once defenses feared the hard count, Rodgers gained something quieter than yards: slower pass rushes and cleaner pockets. Cadence is not only for under center. In shotgun, Rodgers still changed rhythm, protection, and defensive confidence. For the offense, discipline is survival. One lineman flinching early can turn Rodgers' trap against Green Bay. On the road, shouting becomes harder. Rodgers had to blend voice, hand signals, timing, and trust. At Lambeau, silence before the snap could become part of the offense, giving Rodgers room to manipulate defenders. Against division rivals, Rodgers' cadence carried extra weight, because familiarity made every false step more personal. The hard count works because defenders are trained to explode, then punished for wanting to explode too soon. Rodgers never needed to celebrate every jump. The message was colder. He expected defenders to break. Shouting before the play is also interrogation. Motion asks one question, cadence asks another, and Rodgers listened. Sometimes the shout is not bait. Sometimes it is protection, telling 5 linemen where danger is coming. The center hears everything first. Rodgers' deception only worked because that partnership stayed precise under noise. The magic on Sundays was rehearsed in empty buildings, where rhythm became muscle memory before crowds arrived. Over time, the free play became part of Rodgers' legend, a moment defenses feared before it happened. By primetime, defenders were not only playing Green Bay, they were playing Rodgers' reputation at the line. For a pass rusher, the worst place to be is half a beat late against Aaron Rodgers. Even without a penalty, cadence could win. A tiny hesitation could give Rodgers the window he needed. Every reaction became evidence. Rodgers stored defensive tells, then returned to the line with sharper questions. Against Minnesota, timing mattered, because loud stadiums and fast fronts could erase comfort before the route developed. Receivers learned the same lesson. If Rodgers earned a free play, keep running like the shot is coming. That is why free plays felt dangerous. Rodgers could chase a reward without carrying the normal cost.
Football looks violent after the snap, but before it, the game is measured in inches and nerves.
In the 2010 season, Rodgers led Green Bay to a Super Bowl title, proving command travels beyond tricks. The same discipline that wins titles also wins pre-snap battles, because greatness usually hides inside small details. On 3rd and short, impatience grows. Rodgers knew defenders wanted the first step, and wanting created vulnerability. The jump looked like a mistake.
Really, it was the final step in a trap Rodgers had been building. A quarterback's voice carries thousands, but its strength often begins in the quiet before anyone hears it. The shouting fans remember is only the surface. Beneath it sits routine, memory, and responsibility. Before Rodgers could fool defenses, he had to be trusted by teammates who heard the real meaning. Inside the huddle, Rodgers clarified. At the line, he complicated everything for the defense. A late shift can reveal intent. Rodgers used cadence to make defenses declare secrets before the snap. Coaches could warn defenders all week, but one believable Rodgers cadence could still make preparation tremble. Cadence also manages time. Rodgers could slow a defense's heartbeat, while the play clock did its work. Late in games, tired bodies betray trained minds. Rodgers understood fatigue could make discipline crack. In January weather, 5 free yards can feel heavier, because playoff pressure magnifies every small mistake. Every player had to hear Rodgers differently. Teammates heard instruction, defenders heard temptation. The hard count works best when the real snap arrives before defenders expect it, not after. Rodgers became the face of it. But cadence is never one man alone. It is an offense synchronized. Before collision, football becomes a language fight, and Rodgers often spoke it with sharper timing. Season after season, Rodgers made the pre-snap moment feel less like routine and more like confrontation. Every stadium changed the equation, but Rodgers carried the same threat. Jump early, and he might punish you. Cadence can help a tackle before contact, stealing the rusher's perfect start without blocking him yet. When defenders start reminding each other not to jump, the quarterback has already taken mental space. To sound spontaneous on Sunday, Rodgers had to make the deception feel ordinary by Wednesday. Near the goal line, 5 yards can change everything, turning a crowded field into a manageable strike zone. The closer defenses back toward their goal line, the more expensive one nervous twitch became. In spread formations, Rodgers used cadence to test space, matchups, and whether defenders truly trusted their disguise. A linebacker's eyes can betray him. Rodgers' cadence often forced that betrayal before the ball moved. Sometimes a shout saves the quarterback, not by tricking anyone, but by assigning the right protector. That kind of cadence never makes highlight reels, but it keeps drives alive and quarterbacks upright. Rodgers' voice became part of his football identity, alongside accuracy, efficiency, movement, and rare arm talent. 4 league MVP awards tell one story. The line of scrimmage details tell another, quieter one. Veteran quarterbacks do not need to rush. Rodgers made patience feel like pressure for everyone else. Against young defenders, Rodgers did not need speed. He used experience, rhythm, and their fear of being late. Great defenses did not always blink. That is why Rodgers' cadence had to be one weapon among many. When the trap failed, Rodgers still had to play quarterback, reading coverage and accepting the right throw. The hard count is scouting made audible, turning film room patterns into pressure at the line of scrimmage. For explosive rushers, the first step is money. Rodgers made them question when to spend it. Rodgers was not only trying to steal yards, he was gathering answers before deciding where to attack. The play call leaves the huddle as a plan. Rodgers' voice could turn it into an answer. Even missed free play shots mattered, because they taught Rodgers and his receivers what might open next. When Rodgers reached New York, the voice was famous, but the rhythm had to be rebuilt with new teammates. New York did not just want Rodgers' arm, it wanted his command, his control, and his credibility. 4 offensive snaps into his Jets debut, Rodgers' season was derailed by a torn Achilles, and silence replaced expectation. For a quarterback built on timing, recovery became another kind of cadence. Slow, disciplined, unforgiving. Returning was not just about throwing again. Rodgers had to make an offense hear him the same way. The voice remained, but the setting had changed. In New York, every cadence carried comeback weight. A veteran quarterback can bring language with him, but new teammates must learn its pauses and traps. Not every cadence becomes a highlight. Sometimes its value is forcing respect, even when no flag comes. Rodgers was not the only pre-snap master, but his free play instinct gave his cadence a signature. Manning manipulated with volume, Brady with protection clarity, Rodgers with rhythm that made defenders flinch. Rodgers' hard count influenced how fans understood quarterbacking, not just passing, but controlling human reaction. Strip away the crowd, and the hard count becomes simple. One man testing another man's discipline. Before every snap, football pauses. Rodgers made that pause feel like a question defenders had to answer. The free plays were memorable, but the deeper legacy was how Rodgers turned sound into leverage. That was the real battle. Not Rodgers against noise, but Rodgers against instinct itself. For Rodgers, every successful cadence only set up the next test, because defenses remember too. Arms age, legs heal or fade, but a quarterback's understanding can keep growing in the silence before snaps. From Green Bay to New York, the lesson stayed the same. Command begins before the ball moves. The throw gets remembered, but sometimes the play is won by the voice that came before it. That is why Rodgers kept shouting, not for noise, but for control, opportunity, and the chance to steal momentum. Every snap starts as uncertainty. Rodgers' genius was making uncertainty feel heavier for the defense than for him. The story was never only about shouting. It was about patience, precision, and turning pressure into proof. The scoreboard records the result. The legacy remembers the moments Aaron Rodgers won before the ball ever moved.